Good evening, everyone, and welcome in to another exciting edition of Golden Eagle Sports Report. I'm Nicole Budzinski.
And I'm Zoe Comerford. There's so much to discuss tonight. Whether it's Marquette soccer, volleyball, cross country, or golf, we've got you covered. Get ready, Marquette Nation, because Golden Eagle Sports Report starts right now.
Slam dunk! Oh, that's a poster. Live from the Jeannie Hayes Virtual Studio at Marquette University, this is Golden Eagles Sports Report.
Marquette gets the rebound, and the champions have gone down!
Let's kick off the show with some men's soccer. The Golden Eagles had a less hectic week with only one game to play in their schedule.
They had the entire week to prepare for Northern Illinois University. Shane Hogan was at Valley Fields to recap on Marquette's exciting 3-1 victory.
As the fall weather rolls into Milwaukee, the Golden Eagles stay warm with a 3-1 victory over Northern Illinois. The visiting Huskies get on the board first, but Marquette head coach Louis Bennett wasn't nervous.
No, not nervous.
The Golden Eagles respond with a set-piece goal from senior Josh Cohen, avoiding a dangerous start.
I felt there was enough time on the clock to be able to reestablish play and get back on the horse and start riding, and which we did.
That wasn't Cohen's only set-piece score of the game. He also notches one during the 32nd minute, giving Marquette a 3-1 advantage.
Every day at training, day before a game, we make sure we get some set pieces going. We make sure the team is sharp on all of that, so it's good. The first one is shooting opportunity. It's good to score that, and then the second one, bit of luck. Everyone makes a good run, able to get to the back post, which is really credit to Lucas. He ducked out of the way at the last second, so it's a whole team thing, and we all are sharp on that. And obviously, set pieces are a big part of the game, so it helped us tonight.
Even if the Golden Eagles didn't play their best, if you ask Coach Bennett, a 3-1 victory will do.
When it was quality, we had good scoring opportunities. We just have to work on our quality a little more. But, that's being critical of a 3-1 win. I'll take a 3-1 win. This could have been a huge pothole for us.
Marquette will turn their attention to UWM for the latest installment of the Milwaukee Cup on Tuesday night. From Valley Fields, Shane Hogan, Marquette Wire Sports.
Jumping over to Marquette women's soccer, the women headed to the east side of Milwaukee last night to take on the Panthers of UW Milwaukee.
The game went into double overtime, but it was UWM that came out on top. Jack Phillips has more from Engelman Stadium.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Madison Burrier.
Home sweet home for the Golden Eagles. Well, sometimes.
Elena Lombardia.
It's always a big game playing Milwaukee, and I think that showed tonight with the fight and the energy we both had on both sides, so that was a big part of the game, I would say.
That's right, the Marquette women's soccer team faces no easy task when challenging their crosstown rivals in the UWM Panthers.
Let's go, JJ!
Especially in such a controversial ending.
That's how games are won and lost, on set pieces like that, the little things. So didn't go in our favor today. We'll get back on it. Hopefully get the next one.
The vibe after such a tough loss is never a fun time. And for Marquette, a double overtime 1-0 defeat strikes home for everyone. But with Northern Illinois on the horizon, the squad looks to bounce back at Valley Fields Friday evening. Reporting from Engelman Stadium in Milwaukee, Jack Phillips, Marquette Wire Sports.
We now want to break down both the Marquette men's and women's soccer teams. Let's welcome in our soccer analysts, Tyler Peters and John Louisi. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Looking forward to it.
Marquette's men's and women's soccer teams both had exciting matches this week. What positive takeaways did you get from each game?
I think for me, with Marquette women's soccer, because of the offense struggling, I think the defense picked it up a lot last night against UWM. The passing was absolutely amazing with them. Maddie Henry, until the 104th minute, she was another brick wall for the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, and for the men's, they played probably their most complete game of the season on Friday. Not only were they solid defensively and in net with Wyman playing, and having another solid start, they were also very solid offensively, which we haven't seen from them so far this season. So it was huge for them to kind of start getting that rhythm and find their groove here as they're starting to head into a tough stretch of games versus UWM and then the Badgers as well. And then they have their first Big East matchup on Friday. So huge for them. And then another thing that I thought was a big takeaway is that they were able to fight through adversity in that game. And something you see with not just young athletes, but or any athlete as well, or on any sports team, what you see, because what happened was in that game, they let up a goal in the first 10 minutes. And a lot of athletes might think of that and be like, oh no, here we go. This is not going to be good. But what the Golden Eagles were able to do is look at that, regroup from it, and able to become better out of it. And they were able to score 3 unanswered goals after that and took complete control of that game. So that was the biggest takeaway for me, is that they were able to fight through the adversity.
Tyler, Josh Cohen scored 2 of the 3 goals against Northern Illinois. How crucial has he been in helping the team gel together?
Well, head coach Louis Bennett said it himself. He's not surprised at all that Josh Cohen is having this kind of impact on the team so far. He had 9 shots in that game versus the Huskies on Friday, with 7 being on goal, which is almost unheard of. You don't see that in soccer a whole lot. So that was very impressive, and the fact that he was able to elevate his game at this point of the season when they really needed their offense to step up was huge in itself, and that's why they look forward to their senior guy in Josh Cohen. So when you have him going, as well as other guys like Sam Thornton, Lucas Sunison, as well as Christian Marquez as well, the freshman that came in this year, that's an impactful offense that can do a lot of damage, and the rest of the Big East should be looking out for that.
John, the women's back line was able to hold their ground for the first 90 minutes. What happened in the 104th minute?
It was really controversial. A lot of action inside the box right there. Mackenzie Shield, one of the forwards for UWM, just was able to connect with their 9th quarter kick of the day, and it got past Maddie Henry's hands. And you can question the call of the official, but they got able to have the foot on there. It got through Henry, and the team wasn't happy with the call, but it's how they win and lose some games.
Both teams have 2 games this week. The men actually have their first Big East match this Friday against Creighton. What do both teams need to do to capitalize on victories this week?
I think for the women, I think Madison Burrier said it the best this past week. They're too worried on offense getting the perfect pass when they just got to do the little stuff, the little pass and go stuff, and just relax a little bit because they have such a strong D-line, and they also have a brick of wall back there with Maddie Henry. So they can do the small little stuff, get the offense going, because they've only scored 3 goals this season. I think they can find themselves in a good position against NIU and leading into Big East play in a couple weeks.
Well, for the men's team, they're going into UWM. They're playing on their home field Tuesday, which they haven't won yet under head coach Louis Bennett. So that's huge for them if they're able to go away into that game with a victory. But as well as that, they play Creighton on Friday, which is their first Big East matchup, like we mentioned. And that's a huge game for them as well. That's a statement game for the Golden Eagles right there, especially since they defeated the Blue Jays in the Big East tournament in the second round last season. So the Blue Jays are going to come into that game with the chip on their shoulder, and the Golden Eagles are going to have to be ready to fight a tough battle there. So if they're able to win that game, that sends, like I said, a statement to the rest of the Big East that this Golden Eagles team is not just a fluke for what they did last season. This is a team that is motivated and looking to take that next step heading into Big East play for the rest of the year.
Thank you, guys. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're talking both the men's golf team and men's and women's cross-country teams. So don't go anywhere, because Golden Eagle Sports Report will be right back.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Action!
party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report. Once again, I'm Zoe Comerford.
And I'm Nicole Budzinski.
Now switching our attention to the non-spectator sports here at Marquette.
The Marquette golf team got its season underway with a 6th place finish at the Gopher Invitational hosted by the University of Minnesota.
Overall, the team finished 15 over par, but there was a bright spot in what was otherwise a disappointing tournament.
Junior Hunter Eschhorn finished tied for 8th, finishing even throughout the tournament.
In other golf news, head coach Steve Bailey announced the hiring of new assistant coach Chris Williams.
Williams is a former top amateur golfer where he spent 46 weeks at #1 in the world. Coach Bailey said in a statement, quote, "I'm overly excited to have Coach Williams join the Marquette family."
We will see if Coach Williams has an immediate impact as Marquette is currently down in Lake Forest, Illinois today and tomorrow as they look to defend their title at the Wyndham Memorial Classic hosted by Northwestern University.
Now switching gears to the Marquette cross-country team. The squads had a very solid weekend at the Illinois State Invite.
The men's team won the event, led by senior Ryan Bird, who placed first among Marquette runners and second overall in the race. Joining Bird in the top 15 were seniors Brad Egan and Daniel Peterson and sophomore August Beyer.
For the women's team, they also had a strong showing at the Illinois State Invite. The squad finished in 2nd place with big performances from senior Caitlin McLaughlin and junior Emily Foley, who finished in the top 10 in the women's 5-kilometer race.
We now want to welcome in one of our cross-country beat reporters, Matt Yazel. Thanks for coming on the show, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
So, Matt, it was an eventful weekend for the cross-country teams. What are some of your main takeaways?
Yeah, this was the cross-country team's first really competitive meet. Their first meet in Green Bay there were a lot fewer athletes. This was their first real test, and they really showed out. They showed that they're really a legit team, and they were competing against some hard competition, so they really showed out well.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of them had really solid performances from the seniors from both teams. So what does it mean for these programs to have consistent results from their upperclassmen?
I think for this program in particular, the seniors are really important, both on and off the track, given head coach Mike Nelson left the program just 3 weeks before the season started. So that really left a hole for the seniors to really step up and have a bigger role. And they're really stepping into that so far, both on and off the track. And they're some of their best athletes are seniors.
Exactly. And so how do you think that Sean Bearton coming in as a new coach has changed kind of the culture? And you've talked about that a little bit in your writing so far.
Yeah, he's changed a few things training-wise from the athletes I've talked to, and so far everyone has liked the things that he's done. They think he's doing positive things to change the program. And really he's had a good relationship with all his athletes. He's been around for a few years now as an assistant, and all the athletes have said good things about him.
It's really awesome to hear for the program. And now they're headed to the Lakefront Invitational coming up in a few weeks in Chicago. What do you think they need to do to get another victory?
Yeah, after the meet last week, Sean Behrens said he's very excited to see how the team builds off this impressive performance. And now they'll have a week off. They had the weekend previous to this last one off as well, so they've had a lot of time to prepare for these meets, and I expect another impressive performance.
That's awesome. And then going specifically into the teams, who do you think are the MVP for the men's and women's? I know this is a hard question.
Yeah, I would say on the men's side, Brad Egan, I did a feature on him. He has really showed out and become a leader for this team. He talked a lot about his training this offseason, how he trained on his own rather than training with the team for the whole offseason. So he really learned his body and what he needs to train to show out this season, and so far he's done that really well. And on the women's side, I would say Caitlin McLaughlin definitely is one of their higher level runners and someone they're depending on to come through for them and really show out this season. And both of those are seniors, again, like I said earlier, and they're both looking to have really big seasons, especially when you get into Big East time when they're needing points to score for conference.
Yeah, for sure, and that's a lot of senior leadership. So kind of going into more of the women's side, Kate Jochum, she's a freshman. She's made a huge impact so far on the team. What does she kind of mean to them?
Yeah, she has. They knew she was one of the top recruits coming into this season. And the coaching change didn't really have much of an effect on her from what I heard, so she really just came into this season with a fresh mindset, and she really has showed out so far to start her career.
Great. Thanks for the insights, Matt. We really appreciate it, and thanks for coming on the show. We're going to take a quick break, but don't change the channel because we're going to be talking Marquette volleyball when we get back right here on Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Home fire drills give your family a plan of action. In a home fire, you may have less than 2 minutes to get out. So when you drill, show everyone 2 ways out of the house, pick a safe meeting spot, and get there in under 2 minutes. Then practice home fire drills at least twice a year. You can even make them fun. So everyone knows the sound and exactly what to do when they hear a smoke alarm. Go to ready.gov/fire drill and learn how to prepare your family for home fires.
I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's up?
Do we have a gun?
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Touchdown! Oh, did you see that? Whoa, we scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that?
I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. But I need that back. No. Kevin!
Welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report. Now it's time to talk about the number 8 ranked volleyball team in Marquette's volleyball team. It was another hectic past couple of days for the Golden Eagles, but this time the squad ventured in unfamiliar territory.
Marquette participated in the Redbird Classic, hosted by Illinois State in Bloomington, Illinois this past weekend, playing 3 teams overall. To start off for the Golden Eagles, they faced the Knights of Central Florida, where they were able to squeak by with the 3-2 victory. After winning the first 2 sets, the Knights fought back to tie the match at 2 sets apiece. Luckily for the Golden Eagles, senior outside hitter Allie Barber could not be stopped. She totaled a season-high 27 kills. Senior setter Lauren Speckman notched another double-double with 41 assists and a career-high 19 digs.
Next up for the Golden Eagles was the then number 14th ranked Illinois Fighting Illini. It was not a similar scenario of Saturday night, as the Golden Eagles fell to the Illini 3-2. In familiar fashion, Marquette won the first 2 sets, but this time gave up 3 straight sets to lose the match. Allie Barber led the way once again with 21 kills. Junior libero Martha Konovadoff collected 24 digs on the night.
Finally, Marquette faced the hosts of the Redbird Classic in Illinois State. You won't believe this, but the Golden Eagles went through yet another 5-set battle. This time, however, the squad was able to survive a late Redbird rally and get the victory in Bloomington. Martha Konovadoff earned MVP honors of the tournament after averaging 4.8 digs per set. Allie Barber led the way for Marquette with 25 kills, and Lauren Speckman notched her 3rd double-double of the season, collecting 30 assists and 17 digs. We now want to welcome in 2 of our volleyball analysts, Dan Abington and Jackson Gross. Guys, thanks for coming into the show today.
Excited to be here.
Starting off, guys, the Golden Eagles set the tone with the win against UCF. What were your overall thoughts on this match?
You want to start out, Jackson? Yeah, I'll start out. It was a pretty solid start, winning those first 2 sets. They're both pretty close overall in those couple sets, but I think they just kind of lost focus through those last 2, but thankfully able to regain in that last 3rd set to take it over UCF.
And UCF is a really good team. They're a team that was receiving votes in the AVCA Top 25 poll, and they still are after this weekend. So they're not a team that can be taken lightly. So that's the reason why I think they took Marquette 5 sets. And it was a tough game to watch, to be honest with you, because Marquette just didn't look all that great, and UCF performed higher than they normally do. So it was kind of a tough game to watch if you were a Golden Eagles fan, but overall, good volleyball.
That match with the Illini didn't go as planned. What happened with the Golden Eagles?
I think some are similar, and I think also a little bit of history with the Illini. Did a little bit of research, and they are 0-5 against the Fighting Illini since 2009. This was actually their most competitive match against them. This is the first time they actually won 2 sets. They either lost in 3 straight sets or only 1. So this was a better match, but definitely something to look forward to, and hopefully they can fix up.
I think something that a lot of fans didn't know is that Illinois was literally the number 3 team in the country last year, and they didn't graduate all that much. So even though they were number 14 and below Marquette in the rankings, they're a really, really good team, and they absolutely dominated Marquette last year at Illinois. So it just shows you that even if you are 7 and the other team's 14, that really doesn't mean that much, because Marquette looked good in the first 2 sets, and then they lost all momentum. Maybe that's because they were tired. They went 5 sets the day before. But I don't know. It was just good volleyball to watch, and Illinois is a great team, so that's not that bad of a loss.
Yeah, but it was really interesting because they did Marquette won the second set 25-12 and then go on to lose 3 consecutive sets. So how much of an impact is that on the Golden Eagles?
So I think that could be a little bit of maybe just a little bit of overconfidence and finally starting to realize maybe we can actually finally beat the Fighting Illini, but just they got to regain the focus and stay and realize, yeah, they're 14, but they're still a really good team. Anyone in the top 25 is a really good team.
Yeah, Dax put it well.
And I kind of want to go more into outside hitter Jacqueline Quaid for the Fighting Illini. She is very good, and she was really good against Marquette again. So what kind of led her to be so dominant in that match?
I mean, she just swings so hard, and she knows what she's doing. She knows how to get around the block. She knows how to use the blocks to her advantage. She knows the proper spot. She knows when she needs to go down the line, when she needs to go cross. She knows how to diagnose defenses. And I think that's why she was such an advantage for the Illini in that game.
What were your guys' thoughts on the almost upset for the Redbirds Sunday evening?
I think just a finally solid match. I think they went back to the drawing board and kind of realized what they needed to do to make sure they can win. Yeah, they still gave up the last 2 sets and still had to go 5, but definitely a better match. Ryan Tice, their head coach, was saying through all this tournament they've been really grinding it out, and so another grinding out fashion. So hopefully in the future they don't have to grind out as much, but definitely good to see and fight back in that last set.
I'll be honest, I thought that was a Marquette loss. Once I was watching the 4th set, I was like, there's no way Marquette comes back. All the momentum was in Illinois State's court. So Marquette really had to turn things around, and that's when you go to Ali Barber. Every single time Marquette needed a point, they went back to their best hitter. And that's kind of the formula that Marquette needs to follow. It's whenever Kanavanov gets one in the back row, put it up to Speckman over to Barber, and that's a point every time. That's what Marquette started to do. That's the reason why they won.
Exactly, and Marquette had 3 5-set matches in this past weekend and now 4 overall this season. How tiring, though, is that to have 3 consecutive 5-set matches?
Well, I mean, I've never played volleyball, but I can imagine that it's very difficult to go through 5 collegiate sets 3 days in a row with very little rest in between. So, I mean, it's definitely difficult, but I think they still have enough stamina to get through it, and they still won 2 of 3 at the Redbird Classic. So I think it's a little overstated, but definitely has a little bit of an impact.
I mean, it is absolutely exhausting to play that much volleyball. I mean, I have played a singular set of volleyball and been exhausted after that. So going 3 days in a row, I don't know how they possibly did that, because there's so much jumping involved for a lot of these players. And for people like Hope Wirch or KJ Lines, they don't come off the floor. So how are they expected to get rest if you're going 5 sets 3 days in a row against really high-ranked opponents? It was just a really tough weekend overall, and I can't believe Marquette came out with 2 wins.
And do you think them playing this much in that short amount of time, is that prone to will injuries happen at all, do you think, now after that?
Definitely possible. I mean, Coach Tice hasn't mentioned any injuries, but with just fatigue, simply, that's going to cause a lot of players to have to rest. I don't know. This week is a bit of an easier schedule for Marquette. No teams that are receiving votes, no teams in the top 25. So maybe this week you give Lauren Speckman some rest. Maybe you get Katie Shesto in there a little bit more in the back row, playing for Hope Wirch or Caitlin Lines. You're going to have to mix up our rotations here because your players are exhausted.
Exactly. And Jackson, how do you think that Marquette is going to play going into this weekend, knowing that they're hosting this Hyatt Regency tournament?
I think they're going to go in with a lot of energy and realizing, hey, we're hosting this tournament. This is our tournament. We got to defend the Al McGuire Center. So I think they're going to get together and say, this is what we need to do to win, and just bring a ton of energy.
You want a prediction for this weekend?
I
from
do.
me, Zoe?
Dan, I want a prediction.
3 3-set sweeps for Marquette.
Wow.
They're not going to lose a single set this weekend.
Wow.
That's a really good prediction. I mean, I can counter that. I think definitely that Marquette will kind of go. I think they'll have at least one 4-setter. I don't think they're going to go 3 consecutive, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. But yeah, that's a good. Can we make predictions on maybe like the end of the season?
Oh wow! End of season.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna go for it. At the end of the season, I would like to know predictions for Big East at least.
I'll go first here. I think Marquette's the Big East champion. First time ever. They're going to beat Creighton this year. Creighton's down. They don't have Taryn Cloth anymore. And I just think Marquette, this is the year. You have Allie Barber, Lawrence Beckman graduating. This is the year for Marquette to win it.
I definitely agree with that sentiment. You got so much experience and talent throughout this whole lineup for Marquette. It's be very hard for them not to win the Big East.
And then my question too is without Jenna Rosenthal, this was a huge loss for them. How have they kind of had that depth this whole season, you think?
Gwyn Jones. That's simply the answer because she has been so spectacular in filling in Jenna's role. It's almost as if she hasn't even been lost, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, they also picked up AJ Lyons this past season, and I read a little story that she had never even heard of Marquette before she got the call from Ryan Tice. So that's definitely been another big pickup for them, someone they didn't have last year that's doing fantastic this year.
Yeah, and that KJ Lyons story was written by Dan, and it's his birthday today, so I just want to say happy birthday, Dan, and I hope you had a great day. All right, well, that's going to do it for us tonight.
Thanks for watching tonight, and don't forget to tune in every Monday at 7 for more editions of Golden Eagle Sports Report. Signing off, I'm Nicole Budzinski.
And I'm Zoe Comerford. Good night, Marquette.